Okay, so number 7 here. So identify whether each scenario is describing observational study or experiment. So let me write out the definition again. So observational. It's observational. I'll just leave it at that. If you only observe. You only observe. You do not affect anything. You don't change anything. You don't give them a drug or affect anything about them. Whereas an experiment, whenever you do an experiment, that's when you're changing stuff. You affect the group. You give them a drug or change, or how about you say kind words and you see how that affects them socially, etc. Whatever, whatever kind of experiment you're doing, whether it's psychological or medical or whatever, you do something. You say, okay, we're going to do this experiment. If we say 10 kind words to people in the morning, does it affect how they do socially that day? Or, it might be an experiment, right? But you're doing something. Or if it's medical, we're giving them the drug, see if it changes something for them medically. So that's an experiment. You're changing things, you're doing things. Whereas an observational study, you're just observing. Here we go. Patients are given either a daily dose of aspirin or a sugar pill to investigate if aspirin has an effect on blood pressure. What do you guys think? Is that an observational study or an experiment? That first one on mine.
Experimental.
Experiment.
Yeah, for sure, huh? Because we're doing something. We're giving them a drug. Experimental. And we'll talk in a problem or two about why we would give people a sugar pill. That's coming. Next, medical records. Medical records from across the country are examined to look for a relationship between population density and mental health. What do you think about that one? Is that observational or experiment?
Observational.
Yeah, we're just looking, huh? We didn't do anything. We didn't give people a treatment of any kind, right? We just examined medical records to look for a pattern between population density and mental health, meaning areas that are more crowded, maybe that affects people's mental health. Probably does. And so that's valuable. That's statistics. That's part of what we do with statistics, is try to look for patterns, and so we can learn things about life. But specifically, that's not an experiment. That's an observational study because we're just observing. Okay, next. Participants are assigned to either a real yoga class, a fake yoga class with stretches made up by a comedian, or no yoga at all. After several sessions, the 3 groups are interviewed about changes in their sense of well-being. But so it's a test to see, how real yoga compared to fake yoga compared to no yoga, does it really affect things or not? So anyway, is this an experiment or an observation?
Experiment.
Yeah, exactly, because we're doing things, right? We're assigning, what are we doing? Assigning people to different classes. This is for sure experimental. That makes sense? The treatment is either you get real yoga class, you get fake yoga class, or you get no yoga at all to see if it really does affect your sense of well-being. That's a way to test if yoga class really does help your sense of well-being. Okay, next. So again, we did something there, right? We assigned. So what did we do? We assigned them. We changed the outcome. We took some participants and we assigned them to different classes. So they got different treatments. Last one here. Students from a local elementary school are tracked for 30 years to look for a link between early childhood academic performance and quality of life as an adult. That one always cracks me up. Early childhood academic performance and quality of life as an adult. So, I mean, how you do as a kindergartner, does that affect the rest of you? Maybe it does. Maybe I shouldn't laugh. And maybe they mean more than kindergarten. It just seems a little dramatic, Yeah, Johnny had a rough kindergarten year, and His life's over. Quality of life, forget about it. There's no coming back from kindergarten. Hopefully there is. There's a coming back from kindergarten. But anyway, so is this one an experiment or an observational study?
Observational.
Yeah, we're just looking, right? We didn't do anything. We didn't take Johnny and put him in a good class or a bad class or help his experience be better or make it worse to learn something. That'd be rough. Anyway, that's just observational. We're just looking, right? They're tracked is the key verb. Yeah, look at those verbs. That's probably the main thing. Tracked and examined. Those are observational. Whereas assigned and given a daily dose, those are treatments. We did something to the people there. So that's the difference. And of course, the difference might seem like, why? Not really a big deal. It's actually a huge deal, which we'll talk about in a problem or two from now.